So looking around the puzzle, we see lots of interesting things. We see two gears right here that move freely. There is a gap here, right here. There's a gap here. And what I can tell from these two gaps is that this whatever this is probably going to move to the side. And actually, let's look in the gap. We don't see anything. Uh, but if we look inside to the side, we can see something cylindrical, so maybe that's what we need to get out. There's one hole here that's open and then one that's closed. Another two gears, but this time I cannot spin it. There is something sticking out here, but that just looks like it's been built in, nothing special. Another hole, and this one you can see straight through. Which means nothing's blocking it, so probably means there's nothing there. There's another two gaps this time, 1, 2, and if you look to the side again, we see something cylindrical. If we try and slide anything into those gaps, nothing works except for this, and this one only moves very slightly. It's not moving completely to any area. And this one does not move as well. So that means we're missing something in this entire thing. Let's focus on the gaps first, actually, because that one seems like the easiest thing to do. And if we look here, there is a gap right here, right? So we know that this won't slide even though there's a gap. This will barely slide even though there's a gap. And we have not tried this one. So if I try and move this, it doesn't work. But this, if I move it, now as you can see, I have moved it aside, and now there is a gap right here. So now we can try and move this again, and now as you can see, we can move it, and inside there is a circular object or cylindrical object, as we saw from looking from the side, and now we have also opened this one at the same time. So I'm gonna move this, blocking, and it's open, blocking, and it's open. So both of them are clearly connected. And if you look inside, you can see that this axle right here, it's actually open. And on the other side, there's this thing, right? And since I can't fit my finger into this, but I can into this, I'm going to try and poke that axle and see what happens. So I poked it, and now this one, I poked it inside. As you can see, it's gone farther inside, and now I have gotten some sort of tool. The use we don't know yet, because I mean at this point we can't do anything because it barely fits inside the hole. So that means we're definitely missing something around here, right? So we should be looking for another one. So let me try and push something. Nothing. But though this one does seem to be moving a little bit. Nothing. This one, we have this one, but other than that, nothing. This one, we had this one, but other than that, nothing. And this final side, so that means there should be something. I'm not saying there has to be, but there should be something that should move. And it looks like this one has moved inside. And if we turn around to the other side, now we can see that we have gotten this thing out, but I mean we can't pull it. We can push it. Can we push it though? Yeah, so we can push it, and so those two are connected. And now what we can do, since this is moving, if this was moving from here to there, then that means something from here to here can move, right? So this one is able to move, and we can just take that off. And now if you look inside, there is an axle hole in there. So now what I can do is I can take the axle and I can push it in there, and I can retrieve it. And now as you can see, I have retrieved some sort of I've retrieved two tools, but now they're connected. And what this looks like most to me is a crank. So it's probably what we have to do. We have to crank something. I can try. Let me try and put it here. It doesn't do anything because as you can see, as I showed you before, it's hollow, and this one is anyway blocking it. Let's try. So there are no more holes. This is the last one. So this is the only possibility. So let me try this. Let me push it. Okay, now it's connected to something. We don't know what it is, but it's connected. So let me try. Let me try winding it. Now it's getting very hard to move, so I'm going to try the other way instead. And notice at the back, now when I move this, these gears are moving, right? And now, so let's keep cranking and see what happens. Nothing is happening. I don't see anything. But now, right here, so this portion of the box has moved out a little bit, right? Tiny bit. Now let me keep doing that. As you can see, it keeps moving outwards more and more and more. Let me crank it really fast. As you can see, it's coming out faster and faster. And now let's try and take it. However, it's not possible to take it out yet, right? So I guess we have to just continue onwards. Right. Still moving outside. And now it looks like it's not moving anymore. So now let's try to remove it. And now we have gotten our secret jar, just full of crystals and gold and stuff like that. And as you can see, this is where this is where the box was hidden. It was hidden in there, right? So usually at this stage of the video, I would show you guys the inner mechanisms, but since I built this so compact and since the mechanism is actually built into different layers, it's not really possible to show. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to graph it, or just draw it out, not graph it. So right now I'm just gonna draw the shape, just the overall shape, I guess. So this weird looking shape is representing this angle, and actually this will be like this. So so I'll start off from the crank. So the crank would technically be right here, I guess, near the top, and so it reaches into an axle that ends right here, and you can actually see the end of the axle right here. And so in between those two, right about here, there is a worm gear. This is, I guess, my representation of a worm gear, and then under that is a small gear. It's a small gear, and then on the outside is this big gear, and I'll just make another circle around it to indicate this big gear, which is connected to this small gear, which, as you know, would a big gear going to a little gear would make it go faster, which is what I intend to do, because the worm gear will slow it down. I don't want to go too slow, because on the bottom layer, so this one, this gear right here, actually right behind it, I don't know how I'm going to graph this, or actually now I'm going to start graphing it from the side. Okay, so this is the side. So we were right here on this, right? So to represent this, let's just say this is going to be where this gear is presumably going to be, and in there is another worm gear, and it's attached to, again, another gear of this size, and hooked up to that is and I'm going to switch back to this one, actually. this one right here, let's pretend it was right here even though it's not. So we have the small gear, and attached to this, um, actually, so this part I can actually show you. So this small gear is attached to the gear inside there, that one. It's attached to those gears. So if I actually wind it, you can see it moving very slowly, but they are moving, as you can see. And so yeah, so just to recap, this is the crank. It goes to a worm gear. Worm gear goes to a gear, and then the gear ratio is changed from a higher gear to lower gear to make go just a little bit faster, not too much. And then this small gear has another worm gear attached to it, which goes into this gear, which hits this gear and this gear are the same thing, and this final gear will attach itself to this is connected to those two, which in turn take these ridges at the back of the drawer. It takes those and then it's very minimally moves it, which is why I have to crank it a lot. And another benefit of the worm gears being there, it means that you cannot, if you by chance twist it a little bit and you find the opening, you cannot pull this out because the worm gears are facing the opposite direction, so obviously you can't just pull this out. So this is just a side note. This is not really part of the puzzle, but if you do want to motorize this, it is quite simple. All you have to do is take out this the crank that we got, and this, if you want this is not really, this doesn't make it into a puzzle. It takes out the puzzle aspect of it. So what I have here is a M motor. Those are not the most powerful of motors. I have an M motor, and then I put a pin here, and I put the regular size, or not the regular, but the size that fits into this slot. So I can put it in. Now, as you can see, it's in, and now what I can do is I can, as you can see, I have the switch here, and now I can open it. And it is a little bit a little bit slow, but I mean it's pretty fast compared to hand cranking it. So as you can see, I can take it all the way out, and it is a little bit slow, but it's also kind of nice to look at this pace. And now it's done, so I can remove it, do whatever I want with it, put it back, turn it on, and now it should get good. And another thing that I usually do, that I've figured it out from doing this, is that I usually take this big gear off, or even this little gear off, because what happens is it very easily gets misaligned. The teeth don't align, and so it causes a lot of stress, and that's not very good for the motor, and it's not very good for the pieces either. So again, one more time, I'll turn it on. And now I can push it back in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please like and subscribe, and check out the other videos on my channel, which some of them are related to this, some of them are about my other hobbies, which I hope you'll also find interesting and you will also watch. So yeah, thanks for watching.